Ladies and gentlemen, it's 6 p.m. and it's time for the news. Thank you so much for choosing Equinoxe Television. Our major stories tonight: legal experts and civil society actors are continuing to demand justice for the 2-year-old girl allegedly sexually abused at La Gloire Olympic School in Odza, Yaoundé. As questions persist over the circumstances surrounding the case, calls are growing for a transparent investigation and full accountability, and the child's family is also demanding access to the school's unedited CCTV footage, insisting it could help establish the truth. And also, residents of the Basse 3 subdivision right here in the city of Douala have spent more than 3 months living with huge piles of uncollected garbage scattered across their streets. The waste has blocked drainage channels, causing floods whenever it rains, and equally leaving homes and businesses vulnerable to damage. As the rainy season continues, residents say they feel abandoned and are calling on city authorities to take urgent action before the situation gets worse. Those are top stories tonight. Good evening once more, and thank you so much for choosing Equinoxe Television. We begin this newscast in Yaoundé as the family of the 2-year-old girl allegedly sexually abused at La Gloire Olympic School in Odza, Yaoundé, is demanding the release of the school's unedited CCTV footage showing the child's movement on campus. Speaking on Friday on Equinoxe Radio's Bonjour Chez Vous program, the child's parents, Germaine Ongba and Rosalie, said they discovered bloodstains on their daughter's underwear after picking her up from school, and they further accused the school administration of refusing to cooperate and equally shutting them out instead of assisting efforts to establish the truth. Malaglory followed their intervention and now reports.
Bonjour Chez Vous, the morning program on Equinoxe Radio this Friday, May 29th, Germaine Ongbang recounts his present predicament. He reveals that it began like an ordinary school day.
C'est moi qui suis allé récupérer l'enfant à l'école au 25 mai. Je suis arrivé à l'école aux alentours de 13.
At approximately 1 p.m. on May 25th, Germaine Ombang arrived at La Gloire Olympic School in Odja, Yaoundé, to pick up his daughter, Joyce Nawal. According to him, nothing seemed amiss as Joyce walked out of the campus normally, and they headed home, making a brief stop at a local pharmacy to pick up medication for her cold. Because Joyce typically stood up in the back seat during the drive, her father noticed no physical discomfort. The horrifying reality only came to light once they arrived home.
Arrivé à la maison, on a enlevé sa tenue puisque c'est vrai porter la tenue, le collant, son caleçon.
While helping Joyce change out of her uniform, her elder sister discovered bloodstains on the child's underwear. Moments later, further bleeding was observed. Panicked, the parents rushed the little girl to a nearby hospital.
Ma femme a voulu qu'on s'arrête. Je lui ai dit non, allons d'abord à l'hôpital. Il était 14h42. On arrive, les hôpitaux ont confirmé que non, effectivement, l'enfant a été touché puisque l'appareil génital a les lésions.
There, medical professionals delivered a devastating confirmation. Joyce had been brutally raped. Seeking answers, Joyce's mother, Rosalie, rushed back to La Gloire Olympic School. Instead of cooperation, she claims the family was barred from entering the institution. Addressing the public, Rosalie dismissed ongoing social media rumors, stating that a viral video circulating online is entirely fabricated.
Ils ont refusé de nous montrer les vidéos. Soit ils ont pris mon enfant, ils ont amené quelque part. On ne peut pas faire ça à ma fille là à l'école. Je ne vois pas le bureau, sauf si on a administré quelque chose. Donc il y a une puissance mystique là-dedans. On ne sait pas ce que ça fait à l'enfant.
Instead, the mother suspects a breach in school security. She believes an individual took her daughter from the campus to an unknown location to commit the crime before returning her unnoticed. The victim's mother, Rosalie, is now demanding the school administrators to release unedited CCTV footage spanning from the moment Joyce entered the campus that morning until when she left. The family insists that this evidence is vital for the ongoing police investigation.
And in the same vein, legal experts are calling for a specific law in Cameroon's penal code to punish all forms of sexual abuse against minors. Currently, the law only offers clear protection to victims aged 16 and above, leaving a gap for younger children. And a demand was made by barrister Fabian Kenye during a protest that took place in Yaoundé, where women took to the streets to denounce the rising cases of abuse against minors. Right defender Philip Nanga added that government response must go beyond issuing media releases after an atrocity has occurred. He urged the state to take concrete preventive and also judicial action to protect children. Smajikan Gabriel has more on that.
It has become a disturbingly normal phenomenon in Cameroon to hear reports of the sexual abuse of underage children. This is a social crisis that has been growing in silence. In the past few days, the situation has worsened. Several cases of rape involving minors have been reported, and about 90% of them were allegedly committed within the family circle or by a neighbor. The suspect is often someone very close to the victim and to the crime scene. Nothing can justify an adult forcing himself on a child. The frequency of these acts gives the impression that parts of society have lost their moral compass to the point where nothing seems sacred anymore. This tragedy is destroying the future of our youngest citizens. Yet, the government, which has a duty to protect its people, appears inactive, and this failure is deeply concerning to civil society actors. Cases of child sexual abuse have been happening for years, but concrete government action has been lacking. Beyond issuing media releases, the state must act. Human lives are under its protection, and it owes the public severe, consistent punishment for perpetrators. On the legal side, there is a major gap. The law says little about victims under 16 years old. For example, Article 345 provides for 5 to 10 years imprisonment for the abuse of a person aged 16 to 20, but lawmakers did not account for children below that age. This creates a legal vacuum that recent attacks on very young children are exposing. Administrative weakness and family pressure to settle cases out of court continue to weaken the enforcement of the law. In a well-managed state, it is the judicial system that should take the lead in speaking out and acting when such crimes occur. Civil society actors are now calling on the state to show zero tolerance for child sexual abuse. The question remains, when will the system change to truly protect these children?
In the same vein, the alarming escalation of child sexual abuse in Cameroon has triggered widespread public outrage and equally fierce condemnation from top legal experts. As high-profile cases go unresolved, growing systemic failures are forcing citizens to question whether a nation's judicial system can truly protect its most vulnerable. Innocent Aze has answers to that.
Experts in judicial matters, such as Dr. Barrister Kamwa Limen, strongly condemn the alarming rates of sexual abuse against minors in Cameroon.
Condemning in the strongest terms all those acts perpetrated by adults against infants, because if I see a man of 30, 40 years raping a child of 2 years, it's all about madness. The soul of Cameroon has departed from this nation.
In most denounced cases, justice remains unserved. This includes the tragic case of 5-year-old Ofi, who was raped and killed in Bonapriso, and whose body was discovered dumped in a pool of water on August 29, 2024. Similarly, 11-year-old Divine, who was sexually abused to death with her body found in an uncompleted building on March 18, 2026 in Kwabang, Yaoundé. The lack of accountability in these instances has led many to question the efficacy of Cameroon's judicial system.
The slowness in the judicial process, first of all, we have corruption, in the sense that when you bring some of these criminals, they will go and meet the investigators and give them money. And so they will not carry on the investigation expediently.
Many Cameroonians are now fed up with statements from administrative authorities promising that investigations will identify culprits and that they will be severely punished by law.
They will take their time, knowing that you'll be discouraged along the line. And then, when you push a lot, they finally send the file to the State Council. The State Council, too, there are times, the State Council who receives the file, assign those files to substitutes. Some of the substitutes have interest. So when you look at the whole chain of investigation, you see that something that could be done immediately takes a lot of time.
Legal experts emphasize the urgent need to accelerate the judicial process. Serving justice promptly is vital to appease the victims' families and to bring repose to the souls of the innocent children who lost their lives in such a cruel manner.
And more voices continue to rise in Cameroon demanding truth and justice. The rape case involving young Joyce Nawal, a pre-nursery pupil at Groupe Scolaire Bilingue La Gloire Olympique in Odza, Yaoundé, and political actors and equally civil society figures are condemning the incident and calling for swift judicial action. Babila Jonathan tells us more.
Emotion and outrage continue to spread across Cameroon over the rape case of young Joyce Nawal, a pupil in pre-nursery at Groupe Scolaire Bilingue La Gloire Olympique in Odza, Yaoundé. In separate statements released on May 28th, the Cameroon Party for National Reconciliation and the president of the Cameroon National Salvation Front, Issa Chiruma Bakari, denounced what they describe as a shocking act against a child. In a press release, the National Secretary for Public Health and Social Affairs of the Cameroon Party for National Reconciliation, Hermine Momongoto Gilas Sintat, the party describes the assault as an act of extreme gravity. It urges judicial authorities to investigate the matter fully. The Cameroon Party for National Reconciliation says the case highlights the urgent need to strengthen child protection measures and combat violence against minors with greater firmness. The party is calling on the state prosecutor to officially take up the case and ensure that those responsible are punished according to the law. The statement also draws attention to the daily violence and injustice suffered by many women and girls across Cameroon, insisting that the protection of women and children must become a real national priority. Meanwhile, Issa Chiruma Bakari says he received news of the rape case with what he calls great horror, stressing that schools should remain safe sanctuaries for children. Reacting to the protest staged by women outside Groupe Scolaire La Gloire Olympique, he says citizens seeking justice should not face repression. He also calls for exemplary sanctions against anyone found guilty. As public emotion remains high, many Cameroonians continue to demand transparent investigations and justice for young Joyce Nawal.
And in other news, for more than 3 months, residents of Dogbasi 3 right here in the city of Douala have been living with mountains of uncollected garbage on their streets, turning their life into a struggle. The waste buildup has clogged drainage channels, causing even light rainfall to trigger floods and damage homes and equally affect their businesses. And as the rainy season intensifies, residents say they feel abandoned and are urgently calling on city authorities to intervene before the situation worsens. As Lo Maneru takes us to that part of the country.
Walking into Dogbasi 3, the view is shocking. The streets look like a giant garbage dump. The pile of waste is so big that wild birds from the forest have moved here to find for food. Here, even a very small rain causes dangerous floods. The dirty water cannot flow away. Instead, it goes straight into the streets, into the houses, and into the local shops, destroying everything. All of this works with consequences, sicknesses and mosquitoes. The water table is polluted, causing a lack of water and making it impossible to build water wells. Even to move freely, it's impossible. Local business owners are struggling. The smell is awful and it's almost impossible to work or live there anymore. I self-forced to fill my children and send them to school, but in this situation, it's very difficult for me. It's unlivable here. We live with mosquitoes and flies everywhere.
Cette fois-ci, alors, c'est la catastrophe parce que ça fait il y a plus de 2 mois que les gens n'ont pas parti chercher les ordures.
This time around, it's very difficult. It's been more than 2 months that we are living in this situation.
Moi, je mangeais, mais pas manger, mais on ne dort pas bien parce que les moussis en désordre que c'est tout le monde dans le désarroi.
The people of Tokpasi 3 are screaming for help. They feel completely forgotten, as if their cries are falling on deaf ears.
Je suis venu manger les beignets. Et nous sommes en face de la poubelle, ça ne donne pas.
I came to buy food, but in these conditions, we are exposed to illnesses. We call on the government to come and wipe our tears.
Que la mairie, c'est pas la commune de la 3e, c'est de faire quelque chose. Franchement, ça ne va pas. Ça ne va pas. Regardez.
With the rainy season posing an immediate threat, the residents are running out of time. They are calling on the city officials to clear the debris and bring in drainage system before disaster strikes again.
And now in the southwest region, many councils continue to grapple with challenges ranging from salary arrears and insecurity linked to the ongoing armed crisis to complaints of illegal charges for public services that should be free. To address these concerns and improve equally the service delivery, municipal officials gathered in Kumba for a training session aimed at reinforcing ethics, accountability and quality in local administration. Details with Siri Chakutio.
Unpaid salaries, residents abandoning city councils due to insecurity linked to the Anglophone crisis, and citizens sometimes forced to pay for services that are supposed to be free in several municipalities in the southwest region. The quality of public services and the working conditions of municipal employees continue to raise concerns.
Most of the population, the individuals of the subdivision, they are afraid to come to the council because of the crisis, and then at times they are afraid to come there because of the fear of the unknown. And then because of this, the council too faces difficulties. They don't access information to the population.
We have a lot of salary arrears. The aspect of payment of salaries should be taken into consideration so that they don't take bribes when they are delivering services to the users.
To address these multiple challenges, a training session for department heads and service providers from the Southwest Region's municipal councils was held in Kumba. The objective of this session is to improve the quality of services offered to citizens and strengthen ethics in municipal administration.
The essence about this seminar is to drive the service and bureau heads towards professionalism and ethics so that together we can achieve development by providing quality services to the users and the population of the Southwest region, beginning from the civil status to municipal policing to hygiene and sanitation, even to the market administration.
Chaired by the representative of the Independent Public Consolidator, Fondru Bernard, the meeting raised awareness among municipal stakeholders on good administrative practices and the need to restore trust between municipalities and the public.
These are the persons who are in direct contact, proximity interaction with the local population. So our institution is convinced that if local governance has to be improved, if the citizens and service users have to get satisfaction, it can only be from the actions of these service heads, these officials serving in the council administration.
A workshop deemed beneficial by the participants in a context where municipalities are facing numerous administrative and security challenges.
The report done by Siri Chakutio ends this first part of the news. Talking Point is up next. Several students and pupils are already on holidays. With the high rate of insecurity noticed in our neighborhoods, how can parents actively protect their children from all these happenings? That's what we are going to be looking at in today's edition of Talking Point, as I'll be receiving an educationist called Telelen Deborah MBUNYA. Good evening, Deborah. It's a pleasure having Talking Point tonight.
Thank you, Mami Immaculate. Televiewers, welcome and good evening.
Deborah, we have seen a worrying rise in cases of kidnapping, rape, and killings involving children in Cameroon. We saw what happened in Yaoundé recently. A 2-year-old girl was allegedly raped in school. As an educationist, how concerned should parents be?
The first thing is parents should get concerned about who sits and hangs around with their children. Parents should be concerned about the security set up by schools and other public places where children find themselves. We may want to be thinking about cameras. We may want to be thinking about alerts. We may want to be thinking about routines to be taught to children in case of danger. What can they do? We may want to look at policies. What policies can we put in place such that children can individually, personally, in the face of danger, get security? I think parents need to be concerned about the system and check the values. And even the parenting style should be a concern. How do I raise my kids? Do I raise them up in a way that in the face of danger, they will speak out, or they will rather shy away because they are not too sure of what comes in? I think there is need for concern.
Now, with the long holidays already here, because we have some children who are already on holidays, many parents will still have to go to work and leave their children back at home. What are the biggest risks children face during this period as a parent?
Seeing that the holidays or the vacation will be very long, there are 3 major risks that children will face during this time. The risk of being idle, that they have to deal with idleness, the risk of the wrong social interactions, and the risk of being in the wrong environment. What do I mean by this? Idleness, because during school time they have a structured program. Okay, the parents get them set for school, they go off to school at 8 and they are where we think there is supervision till about 3 p.m. and they're back home. By the time they come home, they're tired from the day's activities and so on. Then they go to sleep, they have homework, and then they sleep. But now they have to wake up in the morning. By 9 a.m. they're with breakfast and everything. What do they do? So I think parents need to look into that. The next thing is social interaction. While they are idle, will they step out of home? Who are they meeting in the streets? Or if you're sending them on vacation to someone else, who is that person they're going to meet? What are the values this person shares? What is the value of being in a home with an uncle, or being there with other siblings, with cousins? And the last problem they will need to face, or the last challenge they will have to deal with, is environmental. That is the places they will visit. What will be the impact? What will be the relationship between the values you are putting in them and this place, this environment, this new environment, or the visiting environment? I think all of these are going to be the major challenges and more that children will face during a long vacation like the one we're going to have ahead of us.
Now, given that a lot of these parents have to go to work, and we know some works start at 9 to 5, some even spend more than 8 hours at work, how can parents concretely monitor their children's movement and activities while being at work? Is it even possible?
All right, the first thing is what everyone else is doing now. People are putting cameras in their homes, hidden cameras, what we commonly call in French camera cachée, because they want to see what happens in their absence. But you know, that is not safe because we have an irregular system of electricity. So when the camera goes off, because there was no electricity supply, how do you know? And you wouldn't even be able to tell whether it's the supplier or it was the people in the home who cut off supply to the cameras. But that's what everyone else is doing, so we can try that. But what I would say that might be effective is what I borrowed from my supervisor at the master's level. She taught us something she calls behavior thermometers. And what she explained about, that's Professor Melinda, what she explained about that was, she said you kind of measure the way a child behaves over a period of time. Are they often excited? Are they often hyperactive? When you know that the room temperature or the behavior temperature, that's just to make you understand what I'm saying, the behavior temperature of a child is loud. Once there is a drop in their tone, in their pitch, then you need to do something about that. So that calls for observation. Parents should observe their children before they leave home and observe them when they come back. And just check into those little details. I think that's the way we can start off before we start getting into complex therapies and so on.
Now, cases of sexual abuse seem to be very rampant in Cameroon. We just saw what happened in Yaoundé. In this case, many parents struggle to discuss sexual abuse with their children. What is the right age for a parent to begin such a conversation with their child?
Wow, that's always a difficult question to answer. But I just go with the simple fact that it's like asking me at what age should the child start eating. A child starts eating from conception. So I think from conception, you have to start talking to your child about that. And someone may ask me, what do you mean? I mean exactly what I'm saying. I think where the issue should be the language used, the appropriate language for each stage or each phase of the child's life. Because if a child of 3 was raped and there was no reaction from her instantly, it's probably because there were some things that she was never told. I think as early as childhood, a child should be made to understand that there are parts of her body that she should scream out, even if it's me, the mom, who is dealing with her. I used to tell my daughter, I don't have the right to wash your pee-pee. As small as she was, me, your mom, I don't have the right. You know, so when I bathe her, she would say, Mom, but you say you don't have to touch my pee-pee. And I say, oh yeah, I'm sorry. You know, so when you build that culture of having them know that there are parts of their body that shouldn't be tampered with by others, and even they themselves, as they improve and grow in age, you too, you tone up the language. You now begin to use more specific terms, more specific descriptions, until they get to the age where you think they are very conscious. It varies with children. Some children at the age of 8 will understand exactly what sexual intercourse is. I'm telling you, with TV and everything around now, you get children at the age of 7 describe what sexual intercourse is and tell you the consequences. So if a child, I always say, if a child will question it, then they are ready to learn it. So as parents, if your child asks you a question, don't do what our parents of yesteryear did. This pikin not spoiled. No, they are not spoiled. Their brain is seeking for information. If you don't give it, they'll get it from the wrong source, and they will begin to have the kinds of things that we have out there now.
What are some warning signs that may indicate a child is being abused, groomed, or let's say being threatened by someone?
The warning signs, I would just put them out in three major warning signs. When there's a shift in behavior, that means there's kind of withdrawal or sudden abnormalities. When you use what we call the behavior thermometer, if a child usually was outspoken and all of a sudden they are withdrawn, if a child's facial expression has a shift, that calls for observation. You must be keen with the children around you. And another thing is refusal or denial. If a child was close to someone and all of a sudden they don't want to go to that person, you must look into it. There must be a reason. Don't just force the child. Oh, but that uncle loves you or that auntie loves you. No, there must be a reason why there is sudden refusal or denial to go to that place. It means there is danger. And lastly, I would say that we should, once you also notice that there is sudden panic Like there is a specific name. If you call an uncle's name or an auntie's name, or they see a specific person, there is a kind of panic, and then they get back to order. You say, what is that? They say, no, there's nothing. No, there is something. If you notice that panic reaction, sudden denial, refusal to go to a place, or that shift in behavior, then know that there is something not right going on.
In cases of sexual abuse, what are the immediate steps parents should take to protect the child and equally preserve evidence?
All right, in case there has been abuse, the first thing I would advise the parents, the family to do is accommodate, accept the child. The usual reaction from society is to abuse the abused. Like, they go scolding at the child. What were you doing there in the first place? What did you go to do there? When they call you, why did you? So there's a lot of negative questioning on the victim that is already been victimized. So the first thing I'll say to parents is there should be a reassurance and a kind of acceptance of love demonstrated towards this child. That's welcome the child and let them know they don't have a responsibility in the fact that they were being abused. It is not their fault. When you have built that assurance and go questioning, then the lessons can come later. I usually will say when there's an accident and people are bleeding, that's not the time to know who the wrong driver was. The first thing to do is rush everybody to the hospital. And I think that's what we should do. We rush the kid to the hospital, accept them, show them love, make them know we do understand that they are a victim. No matter how small they are, it could be with words, it could just be by a hug, it could just be by cajoling them. Anyhow you can do it, but just make sure they feel loved at that moment.
We have children who are already on holidays. Some are yet to go on holidays. What is your most important message to parents and guardians on keeping children safe from all what we are saying now, kidnappers, predators, and equally other dangers? What's your message to them?
My most important message is get them actively, positively involved. For purposes of respecting the norms of media, I may not give specific names, but I think I do know lots of places where children are being prepared and groomed to face real life situations. Like many boot camps are happening around town. If you get to me, I'm going to put you in contact with some. For the purpose of media, I may not call the names, but that's what you should do as parents. No matter how it goes, it is safer to have children in a recognized environment where there is proven evidence of proper follow-up, security and safety. We are not claiming to be perfect. No place can claim to be perfect, but there is only a high level of guarantee we can give to any set of children that come around. So we can talk about that off camera, and that's what I would advise. Get to people you trust and find out what you can do to keep these children positively occupied and envisaged.
Deborah, thank you so much for accepting my invitation on Talking Point tonight.
Thank you, Madam Immaculate. It's been nice talking with you. I did enjoy the program, and hopefully we'll meet next time.
Of course, we are going to be meeting next time. And that's how we saw it in tonight's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and have an amazing weekend. Bye-bye for now.